Buddhāvataṃsaka Sutra. Book 25. 10 Dedications. Video 3. When great enlightening beings live at home with spouses and children, they never for a moment give up the determination for enlightenment. With correct mindfulness they meditate on the realm of all knowledge, liberating themselves and others, enabling them to reach the ultimate. Using appropriate means they transform the members of their own households, causing them to enter the knowledge of enlightening beings and causing them to develop to maturity and attain liberation. Though they live together, their minds have no attachments. By their basic great compassion they remain in home life, and because of their kindness they harmonize with their spouses and children, with no hindrance to the pure way of enlightening beings. Though great enlightening beings be in home life and work at various occupations, they never for a moment give up the will for omniscience. That is, whether they are dressing, eating, taking medicine, washing, looking around, walking, standing still, sitting, reclining, speaking, thinking, asleep or awake. Whatever they are doing, their minds always dedicate it to the path of omniscience. They concentrate and contemplate unremittingly, because they want to aid all sentient beings and settle them in enlightenment. With immeasurable great vows they embody countless great roots of goodness, diligently cultivating virtues to save everyone. They forever divorce arrogance and indulgence and proceed surely toward the state of omniscience, never conceiving any intention of turning to another path. Always contemplating the enlightenment of all Buddhas, they forever abandon all impure ways. Cultivating practice of what all enlightening beings learn, they encounter no obstruction on the path of omniscience and stand on the ground of knowledge. They are devoted to recitation and learning, and collect roots of goodness by means of immeasurable knowledge. Their minds have no affection for any mundane realm, nor are they obsessed with what they practice. They wholeheartedly accept and hold the principles of the Buddha's teachings. Thus enlightening beings living at home cultivate and internalize roots of goodness in every way, cause them to grow, and dedicate them to the unsurpassed enlightenment, which is the essence of the Buddhas. At such a time, enlightening beings, even when they are feeding domestic animals, all make this vow: I should cause these creatures to leave the realm of animality, to be helped and comforted and ultimately be liberated, having forever crossed over the ocean of suffering, eternally annihilating painful sensations, forever removing suffering physical and mental elements, eternally cutting off painful feeling, accumulation of pain, painful actions, the causes of pain, the root of suffering, and painful situations. May these sentient beings all be able to leave these behind. Thus do enlightening beings focus their thoughts on all sentient beings. With the roots of goodness in the forefront, they dedicate them to knowledge of ways of liberation for all beings. When enlightening beings first engender the determination for enlightenment, they include all sentient beings, cultivating the foundations of goodness and dedicating THCN1 to causing all sentient beings to leave the plane of birth and death forever, to attain the unhindered bliss of the enlightened, emerge from the ocean of afflictions, practice the path of the Buddha teachings, to fill everywhere with kindness, to have vast powers of compassion, cause all to attain pure bliss, preserve foundations of goodness, draw near to the qualities of Buddhahood, leave the realms of demons and enter the realm of Buddhas, to cut off the seeds of mundanity and plant the seeds of enlightenment, to abide in the truth which is equal in all times. Enlightening beings dedicate all the roots of goodness they have collected, will collect, and are collecting in this way, and form this thought, as the Buddhas and enlightening beings of the past have practiced, respectfully serving all enlightened ones, liberating sentient beings so that they be forever emancipated, diligently cultivating and practicing all roots of goodness and dedicating them all without attachment, without depending on form, without attachment to sensation, without erroneous conceptions, without creating fixed patterns, without grasping consciousness, detached from the senses, not dwelling on things of the world, delighting in transcendence, knowing that all things are empty as space, come from nowhere, are unborn and not perishing, and have no true reality. Having no attachments, they avoided all discriminatory views, were imperturbable and unaffected by anything, never lost awareness or calm, abiding in reality without form, detached from all appearances, all being one. Thus they entered deeply into the nature of all things, always happily practiced all-sided virtues, and saw the congregation of all Buddhas, just as all those enlightened ones of the past dedicated roots of goodness in this way. I, too, should practice dedication in this way, understand these principles, actualize these principles, and, based on these principles, determine to learn and act, not violating the specifics of the teachings, knowing that what is practiced is like illusions, like shadows, like the moon's image in the water, like reflections in a mirror, manifested by the combination of causes and conditions, proceeding thus up to the ultimate stage of enlightenment. Great enlightening beings also formed this thought, just as the Buddhas of the past, when cultivating enlightening practice, dedicated roots of goodness in this way, and so do and will the Buddhas of the present and future. So too should I arouse my will and dedicate roots of goodness like those Buddhas, with foremost dedication, excellent dedication, supreme dedication, superior dedication, unexcelled dedication, peerless dedication, unequal dedication, incomparable dedication, honorable dedication, sublime dedication, impartial dedication, straightforward dedication, virtuous dedication, far-reaching dedication, good dedication, pure dedication, dedication free from evil, dedication not going wrong. Once enlightening beings have dedicated roots of goodness in this way, they accomplish pure action of body, speech, and mind, and abide in the abode of enlightening beings without any faults. Practicing good works, they get rid of evils of action and speech. Their minds are without flaw or defilement. They cultivate omniscience, abide in an immeasurably broad mind, and know all phenomena create nothing. They abide in transmundane states and are not influenced by things of the world. They analyze and comprehend innumerable actions and fully develop skill in means of dedication, extirpating the root of grasping and attachment forever. This is the great enlightening being's third dedication, dedication equal to all Buddhas. When great enlightening beings abide in this dedication, they enter deeply into the acts of all the enlightened ones, proceed toward the supremely wonderful qualities of the enlightened, enter into the profound realm of pure knowledge, do not depart from the works of enlightening beings, are able to distinguish skillful, subtle means of liberation, enter the profound realm of truth, know well the process of practice of enlightening beings, enter the family of the Buddhas, and with skill in means analyze and comprehend all things. Though they appear physically, born in the world, yet their minds have no attachment to things of the world. Then the enlightening being Diamond Banner, spiritually empowered by the Buddha, looked over the 10 directions and said in verse, "Those great enlightening beings practice the ways of dedication of past Buddhas, and also cultivate the practices of all the guides of future and present. They attain peace and case in all realms, praised by all the enlightened ones. Their expansive light and pure eyes they dedicate all to the great brilliant sages. Blissful are the bodies of enlightening beings, and so are all their senses. Such immeasurable, supremely wonderful bliss they all dedicate to the Supreme. All the good ways in the world and those the Buddhas have accomplished, all they foster, excepting none, whereby they joyfully benefit the living. Their joys in the world are infinite, these they dedicate to sentient beings, vowing to cause them all to be filled with the bliss of the human mind. The various raptures known and perceived by the Buddhas of all lands they vow to foster in sentient beings and become great lamps lighting the world. The supremely refined pleasure of enlightening beings they dedicate to all sentient beings, though they are dedicated to the benefit of the living, yet they have no attachment to dedication. Enlightening beings, practicing this dedication, produce a mind of infinite compassion. The virtues of dedication practiced by the Buddhas they vow to cultivate and fulfill the same way. The subtle bliss of the vehicle of omniscience such as attained by the Supreme, as well as the infinite bliss of enlightening practice carried out while they are in the world, the bliss of peace while appearing to be in the world, the bliss of tranquility, always guarding the senses, all they dedicate to sentient beings to cause all to develop unexcelled knowledge. Their work is not physical, verbal, or mental, yet doesn't exist apart from this. They just destroy ignorance by expedient means and thus develop supreme knowledge. The deeds practiced by enlightening beings build up immeasurable excellent virtues. Following the enlightened, born in the family of Buddhas, dispassionate and calm, they dedicate aright. They take care of all beings there are in all worlds of the 10 directions, dedicating all roots of goodness to them, vowing to fill them with the bliss of peace. They do not seek benefit for themselves. They want to cause all to be at case. They have never entertained arbitrary conceptions, they only observe all things to be empty and selfless. To all the true children of Buddhas seen by the innumerable supreme ones in the 10 directions they dedicate all roots of goodness, vowing to hasten their ultimate enlightenment. The conscious creatures in all worlds they embrace impartially, without exception. With the good works they do themselves they cause those beings to soon become Buddhas. The countless, boundless great vows expounded by the unexcelled guides vow that all Buddha children become pure and fulfill all their aspirations. Observing all worlds in the 10 directions, donating all their virtues to them, they vow to cause them all to be wonderfully adorned. Thus do enlightening beings practice dedication. Their minds do not weigh dualistic things. They only constantly realize the non-duality of things. In all things, whether dual or non-dual, they ultimately have no attachments. All the worlds in the 10 directions are sentient beings' conceptualizations. Not apprehending anything in conception or non-conception, thus are conceptions understood. The enlightening beings' bodies are purified, so their minds are pure, without blemish, their speech being already pure and faultless. Know that their minds are pure, without attachment. Single-mindedly they think of the past Buddhas and also of the guides of the future, as well as the honored ones of the present. They study the teachings they all expound. All enlightened ones of past, present, and future have clear penetrating knowledge, their minds unobstructed. Because they want to help sentient beings, they dedicate myriad works to enlightenment. Those of foremost wisdom, vast wisdom, wisdom free from falsehood, without delusion, impartial, true wisdom, pure wisdom, and supreme wisdom, explain this way. What is the great enlightening being's dedication reaching all places? Here, when the enlightening beings cultivate all roots of goodness, they think, may the power of virtue of these roots of good reach all places, just as reality extends everywhere without exception, reaching all things, all worlds, all living beings, all lands, all phenomena, all space, all time, all that is compounded and uncompounded, all speech and sound. May these roots of goodness in the same way reach the abodes of all enlightened ones, and be as offerings to all those Buddhas, the past Buddhas whose vows are all fulfilled, the future Buddhas, fully adorned, and the present Buddhas, their lands, sites of enlightenment, and congregations, filling all realms throughout the entirety of space. I aspire, by virtue of the power of faith, by virtue of great knowledge without obstruction, by virtue of dedication of all roots of goodness, to present offerings like those of the celestials, filling infinite worlds. Great enlightening beings also formed this thought. The Buddhas pervade all realms in space, the worlds of all the unspeakably many world systems in the 10 directions produced by various actions, unspeakably many Buddha lands, Buddha spheres, all kinds of worlds, infinite worlds, worlds without boundaries, rotating worlds, sideways worlds, worlds facing upward and downward. In all worlds, such as these, they manifest a span of life and display various spiritual powers and demonstrations. There are enlightening beings there who by the power of resolution appear as Buddhas in all worlds for the sake of sentient beings who can be taught. With the knowledge of where all paths lead, they reveal everywhere the boundless freedom and spiritual power of the enlightened, the body of reality extending everywhere without distinction, equally entering all realms of phenomena and principles, the body of inherent Buddhahood neither born nor perishing, yet by skillful expedients appearing throughout the world, because of realizing the true nature of things, transcending all, because of attainment of non-regressing power, because of birth among the people of vast power of unobstructed vision of the enlightened. Great enlightening beings, by all the roots of goodness that they plant, vow to make offerings to all such Buddhas, with myriad beautiful flowers, myriad wonderful incenses, garlands, parasols, banners, pennants, clothing, lamps, and all other articles of adornment, and to do the same to effigies, tombs, and shrines of Buddhas. The roots of goodness they dedicate in this way, with unconfused dedication, singly minded dedication, autonomous dedication, respectful dedication, unshakable dedication, non-obsessive dedication, independent dedication, dedication without the mentality of worldly people, dedication without haste or struggle, dedication with a tranquil mind. They also think, throughout the space of the cosmos, in all ages, past, future, and present, the Buddhas, the world-honored ones, attain omniscience and become enlightened. With innumerable different names, at various times, they manifest attainment of true awakening, all abiding for a span of life, throughout the future, each adorning themselves with the adornments of the realm of reality, their sites of enlightenment and congregations pervading the cosmos. In all lands they appear according to the time and perform the work of Buddhahood. To all these Buddhas I dedicate roots of goodness. I vow to offer respectfully countless canopies of fragrance, banners of fragrance, pennants of fragrance, drapes of fragrance, nets of fragrance, statues of fragrance, lights of fragrance, flames of fragrance, clouds of fragrance, thrones of fragrance, parks of fragrance, shelters of fragrance, worlds of fragrance, mountains of fragrance, seas of fragrance, rivers of fragrance, trees of fragrance, robes of fragrance, lotus blossoms of fragrance, palaces of fragrance, flowers of fragrance, infinite canopies of flowers, and so on, up to infinite palaces of flowers, boundless canopies of garlands, and so on, up to boundless palaces of garlands, incomparably many canopies of powdered incense, and so on, up to incomparably many palaces of powdered incense, uncountable canopies of perfume, and so on, up to uncountable palaces of perfume, incalculable canopies of raiment, and so on, up to incalculable palaces of raiment, inconceivable numbers of canopies of jewels, and so on, up to inconceivable numbers of palaces of jewels, immeasurable numbers of canopies of lamps, and so on, up to immeasurable numbers of palaces of lamps, unspeakable numbers of canopies of ornaments, and so on, up to unspeakable numbers of palaces of ornaments, unspeakably unspeakable numbers of canopies, banners, pennants, drapes, nets, statues, lights, flames, clouds, seats, parks, shelters, lands, mountains, seas, rivers, trees, robes, lotus blossoms, and palaces, all made of jewel crystals, all unspeakably unspeakable in number. In each of these objects are countless balustrades, palaces, bowers, doors, crescents, defensive barriers, windows, pure jewels, and ornaments, all such offerings I present to those Buddhas, aspiring to cause all worlds to become purified and all sentient beings to attain emancipation, abide in this stage of the 10 powers and attain unhindered understanding of truth. To cause all sentient beings to be fully endowed with bases of goodness, to gain complete self-mastery, to have minds as infinite as space, going to all fields without going anywhere, entering all lands, passing on good ways, always able to see Buddhas, planting roots of goodness, accomplishing the great vehicle, not clinging to anything, replete with virtue, establishing innumerable practices, entering into all the boundless realms of reality, developing the spiritual faculties of the Buddhas, and attaining the omniscient knowledge of the enlightened ones. Just as selflessness includes all things, so also may my roots of goodness include all the Buddhas by making offerings to them all. Include all truths by understanding them without hindrance. Include all enlightening beings by ultimately having the same roots of goodness. Include all practices of enlightening beings by fulfillment through the power of my original vows. Include all enlightening beings' understandings of things by comprehending all things without obstruction. Include all the great spiritual powers of the Buddhas by perfecting innumerable roots of goodness. Include all the powers and fearlessnesses of the Buddhas by developing immeasurable will and fulfilling them all. Include all the enlightening beings' methods of meditation, powers of elucidation, and concentration formulae by being able to illumine and comprehend non-duality. Include the Buddha's skill in means by manifesting the great spiritual powers of the enlightened. Include all the past, present, and future Buddha's birth in the world, attainment of enlightenment, turning the wheel of true teaching, taming sentient beings, and entering final decease, by respectfully presenting offerings to all of them everywhere. Include all worlds of the 10 directions by adorning and purifying Buddha lands to the ultimate degree. Include all ages by appearing therein and cultivating enlightening practice unceasingly. Include all realms of being by appearing to be born therein. include all realms of sentient beings by fulfilling the practice of the universally good enlightening being, include all delusive habit energy by using appropriate means to clean it all away, include the innumerable differences and faculties of sentient beings by knowing them all, include the understandings and inclinations of all sentient beings by causing them to get rid of confusion and defilement and attain purity, include all activities that edify sentient beings by appearing in forms appropriate to their needs, include all ways of adaptively responding to sentient beings by entering into all realms of sentient beings, and include the essence of knowledge of all enlightened ones by preserving the teachings of the Buddhas. When great enlightening beings dedicate roots of goodness in this way, they use the absence of object of attainment as a means. They do not distinguish consequences in actions. They do not distinguish actions in consequences. Though they have no discrimination, they enter all realms of phenomena and principles. Though they have no striving, yet they always abide in roots of goodness. Though they initiate nothing, yet they diligently practice excellent principles. They do not believe in things, yet can enter deeply into them. They do not consider things as existent, yet they know and see them all. Creation and non-creation are both ungraspable. They know that by nature all things are never independent. Though they see all things, yet they are not seeing anything. They know everything without knowing anything. Thus do enlightening beings comprehend the objective world, knowing that all things are based on causes and conditions. They see the reality body of all Buddhas and arrive at the untinted ultimate reality of all things. They understand all worlds are like magical apparitions. They clearly realize that sentient beings are only one phenomenon and do not have two natures. They do not give up the realm of action. With skill in expedient means they show the uncreated in the midst of the realm of compounded things, without destroying the characteristics of compounded things. They show compounded things in the midst of the realm of the uncompounded, without distinguishing marks of the uncompounded. Thus enlightening beings always observe all things as ultimately null and void. They develop all pure roots of goodness and arouse the will to save and protect sentient beings. Their knowledge clearly realizes the ocean of all truths. They always gladly cultivate practice to get rid of ignorance and folly. They have already fully accomplished transmundane virtues, and they no longer practice worldly ways. They have attained the pure eye of knowledge, stripped of the blinders of ignorance, and with skill and means they practice the path of dedication. Great enlightening beings, dedicating roots of goodness in this way, accord with the will of all the Buddhas, beautify and purify all Buddha lands, teach, edify, and mature all sentient beings, fully accept and maintain all principles of the Buddhas, become supreme fields of blessings for all sentient beings, become wise guides for all caravans, become pure suns for all worlds. Each of the roots of goodness fills the cosmos, able to rescue and safeguard all sentient beings and cause them to be filled with pure virtuous qualities. When the great enlightening beings practice dedication in this way, they are able to preserve the lineage of all Buddhas, to develop all sentient beings to maturity, to beautify and purify all lands, to avoid spoiling all works, to thoroughly understand all things, to impartially observe the non-duality of all things, to go to all lands in the 10 directions, to comprehend the ultimate reality apart from desire, to achieve pure faith, and to have clear, sharp faculties. This is Great Enlightening Being's fourth dedication, dedication reaching all places. When Great Enlightening Beings abide in this dedication, they achieve physical action reaching all places, being able to appear responsively in all worlds. They achieve verbal action reaching all places, expounding the truth in all places. They achieve mental action reaching all places, accepting and holding the truth explained by all Buddhas. They attain the power of psychic travel reaching everywhere, going in response to beings' minds. They attain recollective and explanatory powers reaching all places, able to please beings according to their mentalities. They gain entry into the realm of reality reaching all places, able to enter all worlds in a single pour. They attain entry into bodies reaching all places, able to enter the bodies of all beings in the body of one being. They attain universal perception of the ages reaching all places, in each age always seeing all the Buddhas. They attain instantaneous universal perception reaching all places, moment to moment seeing all the Buddhas appear before them. When Great Enlightening Beings attain dedication reaching all places, they are able to dedicate roots of goodness in this way. Continue to video 4.